what changed from then to now? And you just start looking at everything in culture change. We got away from nature. We put on synthetic shoes that don't connect you to earth. We started eating all the fast foods. And it didn't start that way. It started with, hey, I make really good food. How do I make another one of these restaurants? And then it just, boom, oh, hey, if I can reproduce this. And then bam, now we have manufactured huge feedlots and huge, subsidized corn places. And it changed very rapidly, and boom, suddenly everything in our culture started to shift in a bad direction. Toxins started coming out of the woodwork in everything. I remember looking at why our toothpaste has bubbles in it. You guys know why toothpaste has bubbles? Why they put foaming agent in there?
Yeah.
Because it's a marketing ploy, because they realized that if you get a tingly sensation with bubbles, it made people want to brush their teeth more. And so they added a bunch of chemicals to do that for marketing so that they could make marketing ads to feel the minty freshness of whatever. And Crest created this marketing ad, and so they added all the chemicals into it. It had nothing to do with good for you or bad for you or anything. It's just, and now if you have toothpaste that doesn't bubble, you're like, I don't feel right. They did really good. They did really good with this marketing stuff. And that's how it went with everything. It's just, that's how things went. Oh, meat texture should be the exact same in every single burger, so we need to make it that way and create the patties exactly that. Oh, you want fried chicken? It needs to be perfect, exactly the same in every, it's like, so we just standardized every single thing and throughout the whole thing. So it's like, what changed? Everything. Today, I don't know who, the kind of people that do this type of research, because my brain doesn't work like this, but they say we have more stress in 1 year today than 2 generations ago had in their entire lifetime. And like I was thinking through, like, I mean, goodness gracious, like there was a lot of depressions and wars and like all this stuff. But then you think of the amount of stress, physical, chemical, emotional, and spiritual stresses that are on us right now today, from social media to the amount of information. Like, I don't think I should necessarily know that a bus crashed in Minnesota, and it's like, but suddenly you hear about a car accident that in no way affects anything about you, and you spend the whole day like, that could have been me. I could have been in that bus. Or, it's just like we're so connected with information that our stress increases. And then they have created a situation financially where you are 100% a slave to money. And if you follow biblical principles, you can kind of break free of this mindset and all this, but they've created, you better work so that you can pay us taxes, and you better keep working, because if you stop, you're screwed. And so we have this insane financial burden of stress on us, and it's just wild what has actually like happened with the stress load. And then toxins I kind of hit on, but I mean, from flame retardant mattresses to all the, I mean, you build a house, the amount of off-gassing in that house. You put carpet in your house and you walk barefoot on it, you pick up styrene toxicity, and it starts affecting your hormones. It's like everything they're putting into our food, toxins, deodorants, all the stuff. And it's like, so what has changed? Everything. And so we see this mass curve of chronic illness. And so if we can start to go the other direction and live in a more natural state, that's what the 5 Essentials help us do in Max Living. It's not about being perfect. It's about minimizing what has been done, because we've looked at this, I've studied this a lot. There are multiple cultures all around the world that have 0 heart disease still. None. The Hunza clans, the Abkhazas, the Vilcabambas, the Okinawans, which actually are becoming so much more first world, they're starting to lose their status and starting to die in their 90s instead of upwards in their 110s. So they're starting to fail because they allowed technology to infiltrate their culture. The Maasai warriors, well over, these cultures live well into their 110s, right? And they're doing absolutely amazing. They don't lose their hearing as they age. Their teeth are healthy. They don't lose their eyesight. It's actually like amazing cultures. And we need to emulate what they're doing, but really, we tend to scoff at that and think, oh, we can't do that in America. I need my house and all the stuff that I need, and I need consumer stuff. And it's like, no, we need to get back to as natural as we can possibly get to, so that we can help our lives and our health out. Okay. Now, if you don't want to do that, have fun with heart disease. No, sorry. Okay. The future's not bright either. Not to pile on the crap news here, but they're expecting just massive increase still, another 10%, which, by the way, I've been graduated chiropractic school just almost close to 11 years now. In that 10-year window, obesity went from 30% to 40% of the population. We're talking 34 million new cases of obesity, new people obese in a 10% period. So what do you think happens with heart disease and cancer and diabetes and all the other chronic illnesses? They're doing the exact same thing, and so if there's no stopping it, it's just going to continue. And so it's going to go from heart disease right now costs about $300 billion a year on like the population. They're expecting it in 7 years to be 827 billion. Like, so it's just a massive increase for just disease. And it's like, that's almost, we're closing in on $1 trillion disease, right? And it's 98% preventable through lifestyle factors. So, woo! Like, think about, like, you know, okay, so let's get into this. What is cholesterol? Anybody? Anybody know? Okay, cholesterol. Y'all still here? This is good. Are you hot?
A little bit.
Okay. Yeah, so if we need air, I just noticed the air just isn't on. So like now there's people in here. Like, let's get something going. Like if the cards aren't moving, it means that nothing's moving.
Sorry, I switched it off because you couldn't hear you at the very beginning, so I turned off the fan.
I can.
Okay.
Okay, so what is cholesterol? Cholesterol is simply a soft, waxy substance. It is not the devil with horns coming out after you, okay? It is not some evil thing. Your body creates it, uses it. It's your repair substance. It's what your body uses to produce hormones. So every one of your hormones in your body is created on cholesterol base. So it's like you cannot have estrogen, testosterone, progesterone, human growth hormone. You can't have any of them without cholesterol that your body creates. It is not this evil thing that you eat an egg yolk and suddenly you clot an artery and die from that. That's not how it works. So cholesterol is just simply a soft, waxy substance. Now, they have tricked us into thinking there's good cholesterol and bad cholesterol. What they're doing there is talking about LDLs, which is low density lipoprotein. So LDL, low density lipoprotein, and high density lipoprotein. And these are just carrier molecules. So, can you guys see blue or green? Which one's better? All right. Let's see if we can make this work here. We're going to walk through. So cholesterol is, I mean, like, your brain is 70 to 80% cholesterol, okay? Your entire nerve system, so all the nerves that like control your body are surrounded in what's called a myelin sheath, right? It is a cholesterol sheath that allows nerve conductivity faster. And if the cholesterol sheath breaks down, you get neuropathy and nasty things, and it is very, very difficult to heal those, right? It is your healing repair substance. So I'm just going to give you one example because the biggest thing is generally we're talking about arteries because we think of clogged arteries and cholesterol. So I just want to walk through what actually happens with these, and this is the best way that I've found to actually do this. So this is how this happens. First, we have our lovely brain. Okay. A beautiful brain. And this is your liver, okay? Yes, that's beautiful. Okay. And then we have our artery over here, all right? So, this is what happens. You eat toxic, artificial, damaged fats, bad sugars, all the stuff, fast food, all the things. And by the way, if you eat a bad fat, a trans fat, I'll get into that in just a second here, it takes 120 to 150 days to detox from that trans fat. So it is a high inflammatory fat. That's why we say when you're looking at fried foods, and actually I'll just say this now, it's the 3 C's and the 3 S's. Canola, corn and cotton oil, safflower, sunflower, and soy oil. So if those are on your boxed foods, your restaurants, all the stuff that they're using, those are one of the most toxic oils. So that's part of the process here. So sugars, and then we're under stress. I just talked about all the different levels of stress. And I'm not just talking about emotional stress. I'm talking about all the stresses that are on the body. We can get inflammation and damage in our arterial lining. And so what happens is you actually get these little damaged cuts and these little breaks in the arterial lining like this. And so that's not good, right? So your body, the innate intelligence inside of your body, right, the power that God put in you, the brain sends a message down to the liver to say, we need cholesterol. And so the liver produces cholesterol, okay? But cholesterol is just a substance. It can't do anything, and it doesn't know what to do. It's just an inanimate substance. So your body needs a carrier molecule, an LDL. And so this nice taxi driver called LDL, there's a little taxi sign there, okay, picks up cholesterol and brings it over to seal up the damage and repair it, kind of like spackle on a wall if it's damaged, right? Now, this is what happens. That heals it, and then HDL comes along. And HDL is this nice garbage truck, okay? Not garbage truck, recycling truck, okay? So this is a recycling truck, okay? Because cholesterol is a taxing process to create. You have to synthesize it in your body, and so it has to utilize your body parts to create cholesterol. So if it can recycle it, it's a very healthy thing for doing. So it takes and smooths and recycles what cholesterol can be and brings it right back to the liver so it can be used again in an emergency if you need it. All right? Now this is where it gets problematic. If you constantly damage your arterial lining and you never stop and you never have a chance to actually heal, we're going to see more and more and more buildup of LDL. Okay? So LDL cholesterol. Which is why if we have super, super high LDLs, it would be considered a bad thing, but ultimately, that's what is healing the problem. Everybody with me here? So if you don't stop the sugars and the bad fats and the smoking and the lifestyle factors that cause this and the stress, and you don't negate those things, this is just going to continue to come until finally the artery is completely closed and there's nothing that can happen there. But it's not cholesterol that's the problem. Everybody with me here? So this process right here, this is a constant ongoing thing where it's trying to heal the different areas and you're trying to smooth it away. And so every day it's going to be different, but that's what's happening on the arterial level with LDL and HDL cholesterol, because it's not good and bad, it's just the process of healing. And so if you think about this, my wife gives the best analogy about this. Like if we were going down Sam Ridley constantly, every time you see a backup in traffic, right? It's like you see an ambulance. Like how silly would it be to be like, oh my gosh, every time that there's traffic, there's a dang ambulance. These ambulances keep causing all this traffic and causing all these accidents. This is insane. We need to get all the ambulances out of here. It's like that doesn't make any sense. That's basically like blaming cholesterol for heart disease. It doesn't make sense. Cholesterol is what is healing you. It's not the problem. The problem is the inflammation caused from your lifestyle factors, and then your body's trying to heal and repair. Okay? So that's like cholesterol in a nutshell. I want to ask any questions on that. Everybody with me here? I got some faces that go like this, like my husky.
Where does calcium play into that? The calcium buildup in that?
Calcium can plaque along the arterial lining, but because if you take calcium supplements, you'll get plaque along the arteries, or it'll get hardened in the arterial lining, which is actually what NOx support does, because you should have elastic arteries that can move like that if you get that calcium buildup there. But I don't know if cholesterol has a way to push that out or heal that up. So that's actually a good question. I'll have to get back to you on the actual calcium. We already kind of hit reasons. So do you want me to go through those again?
We know not to eat those foods.
You know, it's not just those foods though. It's like the stressed out world that we're living in, and that's what we're going to get into from a solution standpoint. What I want you to hear there is America causes this, which is why heart disease goes like this. It's the typical American lifestyle, and we've got to break free of that. So what's the solution? This is very, very simply the solution. This is the problem. People do. We've taken care of quite a few people in here now. When I talk to people, it's like they either don't know the 5 essentials exist, which is my fault, because if you come in here, you wouldn't know that there's a 5 essential thing. And so like, that's like a big problem. And I want to like paste the 5 essentials up there. But this is your like continued quality chiropractic care, real whole food nutrition, positive mindset, or a mindset that is, let's just call it healthy, right? Oxygen and exercise, which is a genetic requirement, and detoxing. But people do a modified version of these in whatever path they feel like is necessary, and then sometimes they only do it for a couple months and they say, oh, I guess that didn't work. And it's like, no, this is a continued lifetime support of a way to live. It is a different way to live than typical America. And so when you look at implementing the 5 essentials, it's not a 3-month thing, it's a 35,000 year thing, you know, how long you live. It's like, no, this is the lifestyle that we want to live, and we want to do that for as long as possible. That's why we look at like the 5 essentials as the answer. It's not necessarily like, hey, I'm having a heart attack, which essential do I need right now? No, that's not how it works. It's like, and this is where it gets to, like, the average age in here really should be like 6 and 7 and 8 and 9-year-olds should be learning the lifestyle factors to prevent diseases, but it's not. What we're doing is getting to this stage of life and saying, shoot, what do I do now? And it's like, no, we should be focused on the you know, like the next generations, which is actually where the magic happens. And that's where you learn this tonight, implement everything that you possibly can quickly, and then we teach the next generation to not fall into the same traps and listen to the same people that we listen to get in this. But this is where our answers lie, and it's each one of these goes very, very, very deep, and then once you think that you know it all, then you just learn the next thing and go deeper. We just got this book right there, Mastering Diabetes. I have a friend, Dr. Rosie May. She's a max living doctor in Boise, Idaho. Her 2 sons are type 1 diabetic. They're twins. They were born very, 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 very preemie. I mean, like, they were like, it is absolute Jesus miracle they're even alive, but they're also type 1 diabetic, and they're ranging in like the 12, 13-year-old. And she's doing this entire plan, and I mean, we're talking type 1 diabetes. You're supposed to have like these long-lasting and all these insulin injections, all stuff, and they're going on like 30 or 40 days right now with 0 insulin necessary. And it's like she's following these plans to like of how to get the body to support and heal all these things. Even like you're crazy, like type 1, no, it's a genetic thing, you can't produce insulin. It's like, no, the body can heal these things, and there are ways to do it, but sometimes you got to go way deeper and figure it out for yourself. So many people aren't willing to dive. They just want this solution. I was talking to, she was a new girl in here. I went through all of her problems, and it's like, this is where your problems are. You have a reverse curve, you have all these issues, and she's like, but what's my solution? I want to go get an MRI so I can get a shot. You know, it's like she wants a cortisone shot, and I'm like, you're looking for like this immediate, which is what got us into this problem to begin with, and you've got to break your mind free of that. So, heart healthy nutrition. Okay, we have the internet, which means you have information coming at you at a rate that your brain has trouble even comprehending, and it means there are so many experts. Stress. Okay, you've got like this dude with abs over here telling you that you should only eat meat, and that the carnivore is the way, and this is it, and all vegetables are toxic. We're not even designed to eat vegetables. You're only supposed to eat meat. This is the way to go. And then you got this really pretty girl over here going, well, I think you should eat pescatarian. And then you got this person who's like this authority figure, and they're wearing this nice thing, and they're like, no, listen, you've got to be vegetarian. It's the only possible way. And then you have people over here saying it's all about veganism. We shouldn't even touch an animal. We should look at the animal. It's about vegan. And you've got all the people, and they're all experts in their various fields and all the things. And it's like, where is the truth and where is the answers? And it's like, it gets really, really difficult. So this is where I want to play my fun video, okay? And hopefully it works, because I like fun things, and I like to laugh. I wonder, oh, it doesn't, why are you giving me commercials? I'm going to turn my volume off.
How good is this? It's good. How good? Very good. I know it.
They put real blueberries in it. Real blueberries. What kind did you get?
Coffee, and they grind up the coffee beans and put it in.
Let me taste that.
Huh? Huh?
Que rico.
Suave. And it's not fat. How can this not have any fat? It's too good.
You want to taste mine?
Oh, you want to taste mine?
All right. I had to do that just because I thought it would be fun, but nobody's laughing at me. So we have like the low fat and like all this stuff, and like I have talked to so many people in here that we have been told for like many like years / decades at this point, you can't eat any fat. And what has happened to heart disease?
It got worse.
It's gotten way worse. And it's not that people aren't doing these things. And I've talked to people and they like are petrified that they're about to eat a full fat item. I mean like anxiety through the roof that I'm telling them that they should get whole organic Greek yogurt, you know, like real food. And like butter, oh my gosh, did you just like, and so, but it's real, and like it's funny to me from a perspective where half of what I eat is butter and fat, and so it's like it's a weird thing that happens, but so many people, especially as they're just kind of interesting into our lifestyle, it's like a fear factor that I think if I eat the egg yolk, I'm probably going to have a heart attack, and it's like no, that's what provides you all the nutrients that you need to heal and repair. And so when we eat the low fat, that's always going to be high sugar, high inflammation, because if you take fat away, then you take the flavor away, and so they add a bunch of crap into it, and so you get high inflammation, and so then people get fatter, and they get inflammation, and then they get disease, and then they're wondering what in the world happened, and there's no answers in the standard American healthcare system, and doctors aren't trained in nutrition, and so they're stuck in that world. And so I just want to like break through some of that mindset, because it's okay to recognize that you've been lied to. So everybody say, I've been lied to.
I've been lied to.
Yeah. And if I ever lie to you, I apologize, because I'll never try to. But if there's things that I teach you and then it turns out that's false, I will come and apologize and grovel and fix those things. Specifically, like grapeseed oil. Like we promoted grapeseed oil as a healthy oil for a long time, but quite frankly, it's not. It's been I thought shown and like to be good, and it's quite frankly it's not the best oils to use. Like you want avocado and olive and coconut, those are great things, but it's like grapeseed does fall on a high inflammatory list that we thought for a long time it didn't, and so we had to revamp like all of our nutrition. Like it was like, what the heck just happened there? Like who put this research out there? So anyway, it's like it's difficult to follow these things. So omega-3 fatty acids, everybody knows about omega-3s. Can I get an amen? You all heard about this stuff, right? Do you know about omega-6s and omega-9s and omega-7s?
Not 7.
Why do you know about omega-3s? Because they told you about them, because they marketed it to you. That's a great thing, right? So, but my point is that just because there's omega-3 doesn't mean you go to the health food store and you buy, or Costco, and you buy omega-3s by the bucket load like people do, and they just start shoving omega-3s in their body. It's like that's not the way to go. You need a good ratio of these things. And the big thing with this is a 2-to-1 ratio of omega-6s to omega-3s. That's what you're looking for. So if you eat wild-caught fish or grass-finished, it's like a green finished beef, which is really what we should call it. It's like a cow doesn't eat grass, it eats all the green stuff. And so it's like nutrient diversity. So it's a green finished cow is what you're really looking for. Their natural omega-6-3 ratio is 2-to-1. And that's what we should be. Does anybody know what the average American is? I've said this at a lot of events, which is why I asked, and some of you have been to a few of them I recognized. It's on average 26-to-1 omega-6 to 3, which is high inflammatory markers. The average schizophrenic patient is in the 70s-to-1. Okay? So, all of us are slowly going crazy because our omega fat ratios are off. I don't know if it causes it. That's just what they tested. Is like schizophrenic patients, their omegas were off, which makes sense because it's one of the greatest fuels for your brain. And if you don't have the right omega-3s for your brain starts to break down. So I can see how it will do it. But so this is okay. This is directly from them. Consuming fish twice per week can result in 36% reduction in coronary heart disease. Now, let's just put some numbers around that. What is So if you take roughly, let's take 150 million people in America, because they say that somewhere in that range is going to have heart disease at any given time. What is 36% of that? Think about that. 50 million people would not have heart disease if they just ate fish twice a week. Now here's the problem, and this is where we have problems across the world, is that if we go and tell 340 million people that they've got to eat fish twice a week, how many fish is that a week? So where are those fish going to come from?
Raised, probably.
Yeah, and so like we've got to recognize the problems here, and so it's not that we all need to order Alaskan fish, or it's like I need to order my Alaskan wild caught salmon and mahi-mahi and halibut and all those things, but recognizing that like this is an issue. So we need to not necessarily do fish here in Tennessee, because unless you're going and catching in and all the stuff, like recognize that we've got a bigger issue out there, because if every single one of us goes to these things, I've watched too many documentaries on like what we've done in the fishing industry to try to supply fish to us, because we're, it's like, actually, goodness gracious, I talked about this last time, like avocados are good for you, okay? We should eat avocados, great omega-3s, healthy fat concentration. Because Americans like avocados now, and avocado toast is on every single menu, it's created a $4.5 billion industry in Mexico. And they basically, the cartel has gone around and murdered all the families that have all the farms so that they can create this massive industry to supply avocados to America. And so just because we wanted some avocados, they went and murdered a bunch of people, took their farms, stole their life property, stole everything, and created avocado trees. And it's like, so it's like this worldwide economy is something that's just simply a struggle. And so there is like problematics with this stuff, and that's why it's what you can grow at home and what you can do, local farms and local places, like that is why that is so powerful, because when you take that away, you're not just helping like the local farms, and you're helping like a family send their kid to baseball camp or whatever the thing is. You're also stopping other families from being murdered because they had land that the cartel wanted to build avocado trees, or whatever the thing. So just kind of like a different mindset that I've been like really struggling with on like, hey, you've got to eat wild caught fish from Alaska. Well, what are they going to do up there? They're going to take this gigantic net, ruin the whole fishing thing, and then we're going to overfish everything. So anyway, just to let you know, like, boom. Yeah, Aaron.
You're stressing us out. You gotta leave.
Jesus in prayer is the answer, really, and there is no stress there. Cast all worries on Him, right? So it's like, I don't really have stress about these things, but it is like, okay, I want to be mindful in what I'm teaching and mindful in what I'm doing and consuming, which is why I spent crazy amounts of money creating my own garden, because I wanted to produce food for me and then have extras for here, but I don't know how to grow anything, so all things die. So I got to figure all this stuff out.
I was just making us laugh.
Okay. I did want to go over two different bundles that we want to go over. Just one blood pressure and one cholesterol, so that we understand like that we can supplement with some of this stuff to help out. So if you're actively dealing with cholesterol or blood pressure issues, this can support the body. It is not a treatment. It's none of that. We want to work the lifestyle factors, but these things can help if you're in a current state of these things. So the cholesterol balance bundle, red yeast, rice, curcumin, and plant sterols. So all these things, actually, let me just make sure I don't screw up anything that I wanted to actually say on this. So is this on your thing?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. You already have like so much of the information here. So red yeast rice doesn't just help on cholesterol, it also helps promote healthy blood sugar levels, which is one of the good things I like about it, because when you have high blood sugar, you're going to have high insulin, which is going to be high inflammation, which is going to run through and damage arteries. And so red yeast rice actually helps to not just support healthy cholesterol, it also helps with blood sugar issues. So when dealing on the diabetic strain or pre-diabetes, this is also a powerful thing for that. Curcumin plus, this is 10 times the bioavailability of any other curcumin on the market. It is such a powerful formulation for this. Unfortunately, because of that, it's high demand, and when you deal with really, really quality supplements, there's supply chain issues, and so quite frankly, this is part of the bundle, but we have nothing here, and we have nothing in stock for it. So we're as soon as like supply comes back, we'll have a bunch of this, but it's in the current bundle for this. Because it's absolutely the most powerful natural anti-inflammatory that we can find. So when we're dealing with high cholesterol, high inflammation, we need something to help with that. So that's why we use curcumin plus. And then plant sterols So this helps lowering both LDL and total cholesterol levels, which is just on a natural basis, just helps us because it's all plant-based whole nutrition. So when we look at this bundle, so this is like if you're currently dealing with cholesterol issues or worried about it. I want to say if you bought all of them individually, it's $140 something. At events like this, we take it down 10%, so you get it for $134.30. If you want to write that down on something, it's $134.30 if you needed a bundle specific for cholesterol balance health. But I just want to always, like, you cannot out supplement a poor lifestyle. It doesn't work that way, so you don't take supplements and then go live the exact same way. Or like I have people that, you know, we're going out to like a bad restaurant, so it's like you take all the supplements to try to, like, we're gonna go eat bad food, so I'm gonna take all my supplements and try to like survive better. And then the high blood pressure bundle, so these two things are so powerful. So NOx is nitric oxide. That is a totally natural thing that's in the body, but nitric oxide helps with the elasticity of your arteries, right? So when we talk about blood pressure, we need good elastic arteries. If our arteries get hardened, which, oh man, let me go through this really quick here. Okay. Is there a normal blood pressure?
Tell us.
Well, they tell you there is.
It's been all over the board. It used to be, and probably maybe still is in some capacity, but normal is 120 to 140 over 80 to 100. Like, that's like normal-ish range. Well, it used to be all over the place. And now they've kept shrinking things down. Even with cholesterol, I should have gone through this, and I didn't prepare to go through this at all. But normal cholesterol levels used to be way higher. Now they've shrunk it down, and every year, or not every year, but every other year or so, they're like, oh, no, now cholesterol should be under 200, and now it should be 180, and now, so what happens when they do that? If they say that normal blood pressure should be 140, and now next year they say, new regulations, normal blood pressure should be 130. What does that do to the amount of people that they're going to prescribe blood pressure medications? Instantly by maybe 10 million. So if they can bring it down to 120 as the, oh, if you go over 120, we really need to give you Lisinopril or HCTZ or whatever the thing is. It's like instantly they put 10 million more people on this medication and they never get off of it because that's just how they work. And so like that's, when you think about these things, it kills me because as you age, your arteries naturally get less elastic. It's just a natural thing. So your normal actually should go up. It should go up. And so if we keep your blood pressure lower with hardened arteries, what's going to happen to you from a side effect standpoint? You're not going to get blood to your brain anymore. So we're going to have balance, coordination issues, possible fainting issues, more headaches and migraines because you're not getting blood there. And so you start seeing all this stuff pop up and it's like, well, I'm taking all my medications, I'm doing all this stuff. I have normal blood work, my doctor says I'm perfectly healthy and something just doesn't feel right. And so we start having all these side effect
Okay,
issues. But
Dr. Mark,
yeah.
can you take this blood pressure bundle with blood pressure medication?
Okay.
If you're already
There's my answer, but I'm filming this right now. I don't talk about medication.
Good answer.
It's not my job. My job isn't to get people off drugs, talk about their drugs, what goes with it, what goes against it. Technically, that's between you and your doctor, who is not your God, and you can fire them. It's just, that's the way that it works. But when you look at that, a lot of them are trained to say things like, oh no, supplements are dangerous, you probably shouldn't do that. But the reality is that if this is a whole food supplement, it's basically like eating foods with high nitric oxide. It's a whole food supplement, which is going to be very, very good and powerful for the body. So I would say that if you're eating a whole food supplement and you can't take it with a medication, this side might be wrong, if that makes sense. So, and then BP support is just a very natural supplement, a lot of different things in there to help naturally on the blood pressure support side. That one, I think it's usually 130-ish. We bring it down to 115, so 114.56 if you want these bundles, so if you're dealing with blood pressure issues. Okay, so, oh gosh, I wanted to go through this also. Testing, gosh, we've been doing this metabolomics testing. We did metabolics for a while, and they've improved the testing at Genova, so we can do metabolomics, which looks at so many more things. But if you know, like, man, something just doesn't seem right, I want to do extra testing, I want to find out what's going on, That's what metabolics is for, or metabolics program in here. It lets us actually test and see exactly where your levels are. So I just want to walk through a couple different things of what this looks for. So vitamin, mineral deficiencies, blood sugar imbalances, inflammatory markers like we just talked about with omega-3s and 6s, your oxidative stress, so how many free radicals, like what kind of free radical load is going through your body that's actually causing nicks and damage into your arteries, because that's free radical damage. Toxic and heavy metals, so it actually looks at aluminum and lead toxicity, copper, mercury, things I've never even heard of, thallium, gadolinium, all these different toxins, arsenic. Some of them are like, how in the world did I get these things? But we tell you exactly where these heavy metal toxicities come from. Gastrointestinal stress, if you have bad bacteria overgrowth, those things, stress hormone imbalances, fatty acid imbalances. So when you look at stuff like this, this test is for anyone and everyone that wants to take their health to the next level, or that's dealing with something that they haven't been able to fully, like, I can't get to the bottom of this thing. That's what this helps with. So I want to go over an example. So this is exactly what comes up when we do this test. This is like a nutrient overview. So it looks at your antioxidant load, like where you're, so this is an example patient that I pull up here. So their plant-based antioxidants are very deficient. If you're on this side, it means there's deficiency in the body. Your alpha-lipoic acid, horrible. All the B vitamins. This person, almost all their B vitamins are on the toxic side, meaning they need methylated folate and B9. If you're deficient in B12, that is the fast track to cancers and many other diseases. And it's like we can fix those things very easily if we can see what we're targeting, because now instead of thinking, I don't know, Len, I guess you need the supplement, or man, I guess possibly you need BP support. I don't know, probably based on your lifestyle. Now I can actually tell you exactly what vitamin and mineral deficiencies are in your body. Magnesium, this person was off on magnesium and zinc, which means what's happening to their immune system. If you don't have zinc, your immune system tanks. So they need to not supplement with zinc when they're sick, they need it on a constant basis for a couple months to fix. Omega-3 is off. So this is their next page. You can see malabsorption, meaning that they're right on the level where they're probably going to have some absorption issues. So even if they are eating good food, they're not going to absorb it constantly. This shows major dysbiosis, which means there are big bad bacteria growing in the gut. Now, this particular test doesn't tell us what type of bad bacteria, it just lets us know there is a bad bacteria that's growing in there, which means that we've got to fix the gut in order for anything to work in the body. This is your secondary nerve system. And then there's also yeast and fungal overgrowth happening in this person also. So not only do we have bad bacteria, there might be candida or yeast growing in their colon down here, which means they're eating food, but the yeast and fungus is eating it all. And so they're not actually getting any of the good nutrients that they're putting in. Even if they're supplementing, they might not be getting it. This person possibly isn't even going to be able to take a probiotic because they're going to be feeding all of the, like, the bad stuff. So anyway, it allows us to see these things. They're fat, they weren't even metabolizing fatty acids, so they're eating fatty acids, but they're not metabolizing it. This is omega-3 toxicity, so this is the next page down. They've got major, well not major, but they're right on the line, so moderate need for omega-3s, but look at their omega-6s, toxic all the way. Even 9s were toxic, and when you have toxic omega-6 fatty acids, now your cardiovascular risk increases because your omega-3 index isn't balanced. So now we know, like, okay, well, hold on here, your inflammatory markers are high, cardiovascular risk is high. Now we know exactly what to target with, because we have the optimal omega over here, which is a good ratio omega, but it might be that you need specifically DHA or EPA or DPA, specific omega concentrations to fix those things, or the pro omega-3 to fix these things. We can't do that unless we actually see the testing here. So those tests, man, it is so powerful, but it takes it to the next level when you're looking at functional nutrition testing, so I can see what nutrition plan works for you, what supplements actually work for you. That test, this is where it gets a little bit irritating, because like insurance doesn't necessarily cover tests like this. They look at A1Cs and all those things, but they don't cover these kind of tests. And so the test usually is actually $2,100-ish. It's an expensive test. Max Living has so many good offices that are utilizing these things. We're able to negotiate a better rate, so that the rate for a test like that now is $750 to get the testing and actually see what's going on. Then we can start targeting things from that. But it's for everybody, but I understand not everybody can do these things. Ultimately, I want you to do the things that are free and work hard on those, and then like engage in these when you know, like, okay, I can make this happen, or sometimes it's like, something's wrong, I need to figure out what it is, and so do a test like this because it lets us target them very, very differently. So, okay, exercise. Who here, raise your hand if you know you should exercise. Nice. Good. All right, that's enough on that. Okay, I just kind of follow me here. This is their information again. Regular exercise could reduce cardiovascular risk by up to 57%. Let's take that number and let's say that you eat fish twice a week now and you exercise regularly. That's 93%, 93% less risk of heart disease just by eating fish and exercising. Okay? Now, statistically, upwards of 90% of people in America do zero exercise. It's just not part of your life. If you're too stressed out, time isn't there for you, you bad time management, whatever it is, it's just not working. So, does anybody know the absolute best type of exercise? Whichever one you do. Whichever one you love. We have a program, Max T3, that's high intensity, short duration exercise. It is absolutely powerful. It's proven to boost testosterone levels, human growth hormone, decrease cortisol levels, improve immune function. It's very short, it's 12 minutes a day. It is very high intensity though, and some people love it and some people hate it. If you hate it, do Zumba. Zumba's fun, gets your butt going, does fun things. But if you hate that, like, go to the next thing. Figure out what you like, what works for your life, but we have to do exercise. We just can't get away from it. Now, the second thing I want to say about this is let's go back 100 years, okay, or more than that. Are we supposed to exercise? Life should be our exercise. Should be. So we have to now figure out how to take a person that sits at a desk for 40, 50 hours a week and then sits on their couch and watches Netflix and say, so you sit all day and now we need a specific exercise program that's going to get you healthy. Life should be active. It should be physically active, but we have created this problem in our culture. And so when you think about, all right, I've got it, is there a perfect exercise for me? We've studied this a lot, and when you look at like aerobic activity, if all you do is aerobic activity, you do see a decrease in lean muscle and an increase in fat percentage in the body. And so you might be, we call them skinny fat, right? So it's like, they might be a thin person, but they have high fat concentration. So think about your marathon runners. All they do is aerobic activity. And so they're thin, but they're very flabby, they don't have a lot of muscle mass. Versus a sprinter, so when you watch sprinters at the Olympics, right, it's all anaerobic activity, which means high lean muscle, which means high oxygen concentration in the body, which is extremely, extremely healthy. And so what do they look like? Jacked and ripped like crazy. And so the more anaerobic exercise you can do, the more lean muscle and more oxygen concentration you're going to have into your body. If all we do is walk or all we do is aerobic activity, not doing the best for you. We really should have some pretty more intense exercise in our body. But it's like, ultimately it's, if you love doing something, just don't sit on a couch. You know, if you have to do something. So, okay, let me go through this also. Dang, 7:30. The best way to do this, they've done a lot of research on it. If you just commit to me, like you're going to work out tomorrow morning, the chance of you actually committing to that is about 2%, maybe, okay? If you commit and then you write it down, at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, I'm going to wear these clothes and I'm going to do this exercise. Now, suddenly, in the garage, you know, suddenly the percentage goes up to like 80 or 90% follow through if you just write down what you're going to wear, what workouts you're going to do, what time you're going to do it, where you're going to do it, right? So if you have all those things set, now you're committed on a different level. You already know the exercise. The hardest thing for people is like putting on workout clothes and then being like, I think that's good. I think that's good. You know, because you didn't have a plan. You had to have a plan for these things, but you've got to pick something and go after it, okay? Mindset, let's, I'll kind of breeze through this a little bit. Just looking at like stress, I wanted to give you some specific things, so if you want to write some things down, this would probably be some things. I just wanted to give you some ideas of how to reduce stress that you can implement right now. So one, simplify your schedule. Review your calendar, review your to-do lists, and see where you can just simplify. I read something recently that you need at least 20 minutes of nature a day, and if you're really busy, you need an hour a day, okay? So, which, like, you don't like my jokes are not. But simplify your schedule. You've got to plan these things in. Plan in time for relaxation, rest, stress, workouts. You've got to plan it in. Breathe to relax, okay? Most Americans are shallow chest breathers because we never stop, fill our lungs all the way, and actually just relax. If you get good at that, on that deep inhale, you'll actually feel your spine like releasing and like engaging, almost like an adjustment is happening. Like you'll feel like, oh, things are actually like opening. So the more natural you are with breathing deep into your belly, like the better things are, the more relaxed you can get. And if you're ever feeling anxious or worried, that really long exhale, almost instantly, so that activates your vagus nerve, and we come down into a relaxed state. Only focus on what you can control. Do you have any control over what government does? Kind of. You can call your senator or call people, but that doesn't do it. Whatever, let's do something. Maybe. I don't know. I write those things. I write letters to senators sometimes, and they always write back, I'm going to do what I want, basically. What they say. Only focus on what you can control. Can you control your son's decision on who they marry? Can you control anything outside of your life? You can control very, very little. So only focus on what you can control, because when you look outside, now it's like, oh my gosh, the world is falling, the sky is falling, all bad things are happening, and you live in a stressed out state. Exercise, physical activity is a natural stress buster. Try yoga and meditation. I wrote that down. You don't have to do yoga and meditation if you don't want to, but give it a shot. It's powerful just on your body. I was listening to somebody talk recently on like that yoga is satanic, and so they don't do it because it's the positions are worshiping Satan and all this stuff. It's like I think yoga is actually, you know, it's root made of thing, whatever. It's an exercise now, and so it's like put on your yoga pants and like get in positions and get your muscles strong. So don't get into the weird spiritual stuff. Just do the thing. Get plenty of sleep. Who here is sleep deprived? I have these True Dark glasses that block all, like, I have two different ones. One that blocks like all blue light, and one that blocks all blue and green light. So I wear them at different times. So if I'm on any kind of technology, I'll wear the blue light glasses because technology turns your circadian rhythm. It changes that. So if you're watching any kind of screen in the evening time, your body's not starting the nighttime routine and producing melatonin and getting yourself ready for sleep. And so I have glasses for that if we are like watching things or I'm having to prepare, you know, events or anything like that. You've got to protect your time there. So in about that hour and a half to 2 hour window before you go to sleep, you've got to protect your light sources in your eyes. If you have fluorescents at home and those kind of things, it's like those are toxifying your body, and it's not allowing you to get good sleep. If you're sleeping in a position where it's like you're worried and stressed out, that's why I have this 5-minute journal back here. It helped me so much. I just journal things that I'm grateful for that day, things that were amazing that day, and you just write down those things so you go to sleep thinking about good, positive things rather than, oh my gosh, I got to do this tomorrow, I got to do this tomorrow when I wake up, this has to happen immediately, I've got to plan for this. You know, it's like, those things are huge.
Did you say green for TV watching?
Sorry?
Green.
Blue light, but green light also, it messes with your circadian rhythm. So you have the whole like light rainbow, right? And so like I have my really intense glasses that I wear about 30 minutes before I go to sleep are like this really dark red lens, and it changes the look of everything, but it's like, it's prepping for, because we should be at night. We shouldn't have all this crap around us, you know? It's like we should.
Well, I have to watch my preacher at 10 o'clock every night.
Yeah, so I can show you what I have. Yeah, I just use True Dark. It's a
Okay.
company. They just produce the best lights. So True Dark glasses. But we should be outside watching the sunset, and then we should it should be dark. So it's like, what should we be able to do? Light some candles, which is a healthy light source, and then go to sleep. So, but we turn all the lights on, all the stuff, and then we've got like Wi-Fi signals, blue lights coming at us like crazy, and so we've got all these weird things. So we've got to protect your bedroom. There should be no Wi-Fi signals in that bedroom at all, no routers, no cell phone charging in your bedroom at all, no EMF devices in your bedroom at all. If there's any kind of smart TV, all those things need to be shut off, or turn off your Wi-Fi emitters. If you're struggling with sleep, get rid of all EMF devices, shut them all down at night, and you will have way, way, way better sleep. And then shift your perspective. A lot of times it's just our perspective on things. It's like we've got to shift those to a more of a spiritual, righteous, God-centered perspective. So read your Bible, okay? Minimizing toxins. We're not going to get into this. I was going to go through plastics and smoking and all that. It's past 7:30. I didn't want to go through a ton of this, but it's really, truly plastics. We're seeing this in the people that we're testing. We look at plastic toxicity. Man, I mean, covering food in saran wrap. If you cover hot food in saran wrap, you're leaching toxins directly into that food. So when you heat it the next time, you're eating plastics. If you eat out of plastic containers or heat food up in plastic containers, what is it, Tupperware, whatever the stuff is, it's that is leaching toxins in there. Plastic bottles, Dasani, Aquafina, all of them. It's we think that we're doing good by drinking natural spring water or something. It's a plastic bottle. It leaches into you and it causes major toxicity. Smoking, I don't have to go over that a ton, but there are so many people that are still smoking on a regular basis. I don't shame anybody for anything. Everybody has their smoking in their life, but the truth is that that's a toxicity. I remember my brother just couldn't get on. He hated smoking so much. He was just so addicted to it. So if you struggle with that, there's a book I read called The Power of Habit. You can talk to me afterwards if you need this, but The Power of Habit. It walks through very specifically how to neurologically change the cue response system, because all it is you feel stressed, your response to that is a cigarette, and your reward system is, okay, now you feel better if you have something in your fingers. And so if you just switch that response around to something different, you can quit smoking very rapidly. They've seen it with thousands and thousands and thousands of people, but the power of habit helps tremendously with that. PFOAs, that's in a whole lot of stuff, but I'm not going to go over that now. And then core chiropractic, and let's just okay, so I don't have, man, how did I not have my poster back there? Right here, everybody go from your back of your ears, there's a bone right here, and then slide back just a little bit. It's probably going to be a little bit tender if you kind of dig in this little hole right here, okay? This is your atlas bone, all right? If you actually are right where I'm feeling right in here. If it's tender, you should probably get adjusted again. Okay, so right in here is your atlas bone. That protects your brainstem. This is where your vagus nerve stems from. Your vagus nerve is basically your autonomic nerve system that controls all of your automatic functions. But one thing it controls is heart rate variability, HRV. Who's heard of HRV? So heart rate variability, it's very simply how fast your body can change its heart rate based on the environment. Okay, so if a bear comes out and attacks us, what happens to you really quickly? You get that adrenaline rushes through your body, all this stuff, while your vagus nerve is controlling this response system. And good vagal nerve tone means we have good HRV, and poor HRV is one of the leading risk factors for cardiovascular disease. So we want high HRV, heart rate variability, and they can measure that. Actually, I think iWatches measure it now. Fitbit might do it. You can wear these Oura rings that will measure your HRV, so it tests you at night and all this stuff. So there's some technology out there that can test these things, which is pretty powerful. I wore one for a while, and I realized I know exactly how my life is going. I know if I'm stressed out, I know if I'm not sleeping well, and I don't need technology on my body telling me these things. I know these things already. So I don't do those at all. I don't wear any kind of technology on me because I hate, it's just.
That's EMS.
So, well, exactly, and that's where I'm pretty sure we're going to see this massive spike in breast cancer soon, because everybody's putting all these wearables on. So anyway, that's a pretty different conversation, but I'm pretty sure pretty soon there's going to be dings, and they're going to be like, hey, you forgot your medication, or hey, your toilet bowl is going to measure your urine, and you're going to get your, it's going to be crazy. So, Anyway, so heart rate variability. Like when you look at your nerve component into this, your nerve system controls literally every function in your body. So when people come in here and they're like, hey, can you help with this? Or hey, all this stuff, it's like, of course we can help with that. Your nerve system controls everything. So if we can clear the nerve system, awesome. But that's also why we need to start very, very young, because when we deal with like degeneration and arthritis up here, we're trying to stabilize and maintain and just like hold the spine instead of correct and fix and like get things working properly at 100% so we can move forward in a healthy direction. So adjustments to the upper cervical spine instantly increase vagal nerve tone. So you can have a spike in heart rate variability just with good chiropractic adjustments. Matter of fact, when you look at C1 adjustments, that's one of the best things for lowering blood pressure. They actually measured this against lisinopril and HCTZ, and they saw that chiropractic adjustments to C1 worked better at lowering blood pressure than the leading two blood pressure medications. And it's like, that's powerful stuff. But the problem is that I don't live with you, right? And so it's like we need, and so if you constantly have the stresses and all the stuff, I can't come adjust you every day. And so people have this like, well, I just take my blood pressure medication. So just to let you know like how powerful this is, that just an adjustment can lower these things very rapidly. Chiropractic improves lung function because of the vagus nerve, because this directly influences how you're breathing, your automatic functions. Your vagus nerve controls your automatic functions, your digestion, reproduction, how your spleen is working, mood, sleep, concentration, all that's directly in there. Heart rate variability, HRV, that's what we're talking about, and helps lower inflammation. So it's like everybody in here is already a patient. So when you're getting adjusted, just know the power. When we say power is on, it's not like, hey, great, your shoulder power is on. It's the power is on in the body, and your body is healing, whether you recognize it right then or not. Like there is power coming back into the body, which is an absolutely amazing thing. So let me actually, we won't go through warning signs, but let me just talk about this, because there are so many lost people out there, and every single day we have people coming here that have never ever been to a chiropractor, never heard of it, and they're all the way from 80-year-olds into like 3-year-olds. But one of the cool things that we just saw, so I talk about this for new patients coming in here a lot, and I tell a story about Amy, who came in here with fertility issues and whatnot, and like literally 2.5 months into care, she got pregnant after 8 years of all these fertility things. Well, this morning we had a lady come back in here. She was infertile for 14 years, tried absolutely everything. In about 3 months, or maybe 2.5 months, 3 months, she got pregnant in the office, and it was absolutely, I mean, we like celebrated with her like crazy. She was in tears, really powerful. And then the next day, she quit care. And I was like, I didn't see that one coming. Anyway, I've spoken to her twice since then. That was 4 years ago. Okay, but she came back into the office today because that daughter was born and is now 4 years old and is dealing with some things that like she should have been adjusted from birth. She got what she needed out of the office, and so she left. But so now I'm like watching this kid, and she came in here and she said something so powerful. She was just like, my daughter, she wouldn't be here without chiropractic. And I was like, so often we get stuck into this I've got headaches, I need to fix this headache thing, or man, my elbow hurts, or man, my butt really hurts, I've got this pain shooting down my butt, can you fix this, can you drill the little thing, can you pound on my butt muscle? It's like all the kind of the funny stuff, and the reality is that every adjustment is removing interference. Whether you know it or not, there is healing happening. I don't know what your body needs to heal right now. You might have tumors developing over here that your body's actively working on, and it could care less about your shoulder pain. Like, I don't know what your body's trying to heal, but I know that every single adjustment removes interference to allow life, health, and healing to come back into your body, which is the most powerful thing you can have happen. But so many people, it's like you talk to your friends, and then they're dealing with all this stuff, and chiropractic is the answer for them. But I just want to give you 100% certainty that it is the answer for them. You can speak to your friends with 100% certainty that we will be able to help them. I know the conversations that happen out there, and it's like people talk to me every day. I'm begging my friend to come in here. What can I do? Can you call them? What? And it's like I don't have any authority in their life at this point. They need to make a decision to make it into the office. But it's like we could help every church in the area. We could start church health programs, but we need to do so much more, because The evil is out there, and it is a spiritual, nasty evil, and there's only one thing that can help is Jesus. But then if we bring in the power of health also, if we can get the church strong and healthy, then we can actually go do big things. And that's what our office is for. But it starts with just like, our people taking action and actually going to do stuff. So I have all my cute slides there to connect with you, all the stuff, like follow us on Facebook. But okay, so what do we get out of tonight? I want some action steps of we have to fight stress. We have to fight stress. It is the number one thing. You have to actively focus on that, okay? Actively focus on stress. Sugar and bad fats, I would say bad fats are way worse than the sugars we put in our body. Sugar is crappy and inflammatory and awful, but you burn through it or store it as fat pretty fast. Bad fats stay in your system, causing free radicals and damage for months after you eat them. So pay attention to the oils that you're using at home, and if you go out to eat, pay attention, or it's like you are going to have to massively supplement if you're going out to eat, or just make food at home. Okay, so okay, there's my ending. No, okay. Is there anything I missed? Usually I have my wife here. This is so weird, by the way. This is so weird. I feel like half of me is missing. It's really strange. Doing events alone. So I'll just pray for us, and we can go. And if you need one of those bundles, we have them up there, and that is for if you're dealing specifically with blood pressure or cholesterol issues. Know somebody who is, but we don't have Curcumin Plus right now, so you can get the bundle and we'll get it to you as soon as possible. So, God, we're just grateful that we can even have the freedom to have nights like this. We just pray that this room right here, that we put an anointing on this room to go out and make a change in their own lives and in the lives of people that you have them touch. We just pray that your name reigns in this office. This office will never stand for anything against your will, that we are directly in line with that. We pray for every person here that you would just bless their lives in such amazing ways. If there is hurt and healing needed in here, we know that you're the great physician. We know that just that believing in you, that we could just touch your cloak and we could get immense healing. I just pray healing over people, that they wake up with no pains, no issues, that their dizziness is gone, that their cancers are gone, that their toe fungus, whatever the thing is plaguing their body, that you heal them instantly. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Oh, really? Are you on the board?
I know I shouldn't be drinking this, How's your granddaughter?
She is in California.
And she's feeling
I like it.
Media
It's like, and how do you live?